up next on Public Access TV is Fan to Fan, where we touch on all things sports in Metro West. Today is Beep Baseball, played by people who are visually impaired. My guests are Boston Renegades head coach Rob Weissman, who helped start Beep Ball in New England back in 2000, and third-year player Tyler Mireault. Stay tuned. If you are frustrated by the beeping Red Sox, you will learn how these players love the beep. This is Fan to Fan, where we touch on all things sports in Greater Metro West. Hi, I'm your host, Dave Hornfischer, and I'm excited today to highlight a totally unique sports program on the subject of beep ball, or more specifically, baseball played with both beeping balls and beeping bases by teams where most of the players are visually impaired. My guests are head coach Rob Weissman from Woburn, who helped start the Boston Renagades beep ball team 23 years ago, along with one of their players, Tyler Mireault from Chelmsford, a third-year player and one of the top hitters right now, who recently lost his vision. Bob, Tyler, welcome to Fan. It's great to have you here. And before we even get started with our chat here, let's show a little video that Channel 25 put together about you guys a little while back. And just to let everybody out there know what beep baseball is really all about.
Another great baseball story tonight, baseball for the blind. Our videographer Jeff Robinson introduces us to beep baseball.
Coach, set, ready, pitch. Woo! Beep baseball is a sport where the players are blind and the umpires aren't.
I've been legally blind since I was 18 months old.
I have retinitis pigmentosa, which is a degenerative condition.
Every player is visually impaired, but they all wear blindfolds because some players are totals, some players are partials, and the blindfold is the equalizer, puts them on the same field.
Oh, let's go!
I don't play baseball anymore. Until now, this is like a new life for me.
Ready, pitch.
The pitcher stands 21 feet away from the hitter.
Ready, pitch.
They're just trying to put the ball and groove it for the hitter. They're given 4 strikes in 1 take or 1 ball. If they don't put the ball in play in the 4 strikes, it's just like a strikeout in baseball.
Ooh, we just missed it. Good swing.
If they do put the ball in play, it becomes a foot race. If they can get to the base before the defense picks up the ball and shows possession, they score a run. If the defense picks up and shows possession before they get the base, that's an out.
That's it.
3 outs per inning, 6 innings. I want you to hear the graph. There are 6 players on the field. We also have 2 sighted volunteers on the field defensively.
We have a spotter in both left and right field.
They're out there to help make sure players are safe, help get the players set up in the right positions to make a call.
The only thing we can call is a number once the ball is actually hit from the bat. You call numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. 1. One thing we'll do is we use tone or inflection. We can call a hard 1 if it's really, really hit.
Players got to take care of it from a hearing perspective to locate, track that ball and pick it up.
It's awesome. I missed the competitiveness.
I can prove and show everybody else, what we can do.
You don't have that sense of, oh my gosh, you're blind and you're not good. It's, no, we're all blind and that's not an excuse.
How do we hit?
Wow, that was a terrific video, Rob. That really, I think, illustrates everything that's going on here. But you've been involved with this now for 25 years. How did you get started, and how did this all, and what are you doing? What's your role right now?
Yeah, so when I was in college as a freshman, I was randomly assigned to a floor with a lot of people with different disabilities, and I created lifelong friendships with a lot of these guys with different disabilities. And one of the guys was a blind guy by the name of Steve Guerra. And about 8 years after I graduated, Steve called me and told me that there was interest in getting the sport started up in the Boston area. And he thought that it would be of interest to me because of my background in working with the people on my floor in college. We used to adapt sports to them. We used to have a wheelchair hockey program on campus. So my knowledge of adaptive sports, I also used to work for Major League Baseball for a short period of time. So it married everything that I like together. And so I went to check out the sport in the local area. I brought a couple of my friends along with me. Their names are Brian Grillo and Ron Cochran, and the three of us are still doing it 25 years later.
And you were just a guy in the right place at the right time to do the right thing. And today you're the coach and general manager and do a lot of other things, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, pretty much everything for, organize everything on the field to all the practices that we're doing, the working with everyone to come up with the game strategy, and then working with everybody off the field to kind of keep us organized as far as fundraising and recruitment of new volunteers, recruitment of players, and marketing, and you name it. We got a group of people that are working on it.
And those are your roller skates. Well, okay, Tyler, why don't you talk a little bit about how you got started? You've had some instant success, I was told, at doing this, but you're challenged with an unusual sight condition.
Yeah, so I've only been blind for about 2.5 years, going on 3 in November, but I have a genetic disease called Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy. I didn't know I had it growing up. I was fully sighted until I was about 22. And then within about 3 months at the end of my senior year, I went from fully sighted to almost completely blind. I'm not quite total. I got good light perception and some, vision that helps me get around a bit. But other than that, I don't have much. So it's been, a quick transition. And I ended up finding the Renegades after they came to a fundraising event for the blind school I went to. And they had a booth there. And, since then, I've just been a part of the team. And it's been a great time.
Well, that's terrific. So it must have been quite a shock to you to lose your sight all of a sudden like that, and then to find something like this where you can just really be out and active again.
Definitely. When I first went blind, I really didn't expect to be doing much activities, or maybe I could go do some push-ups in my basement and jog on the elliptical a little bit, but that was pretty much it, for better or worse, I suppose. But I found this sport, and I would say it's almost more active than some of the sports I did in high school, for sure. There's a lot of challenges to it, but it gives you back that competitive edge. You get to have a great time and meet a lot of great people. So it's been a blessing, for sure.
Well, you're holding in your hand one of the balls that you guys use, which is an impressive thing in itself. It almost looks like a bowling ball. And you have that button there. So what happens when you push the button?
Yeah, so there's like a pin in it, and so I can pull it out real quick. It's like that, and then I can get it back in there. Uh-huh. But it's a loud beeping, and it's supposed to stay consistent. But it'll helps the defense field the ball. There's 2 spotters out there that'll give you numbers, and you kind of run towards the number and then listen for the ball and pick it up. You're supposed to pick it up, rather quickly and calm, cool, and collected, but that's not, one of my perks yet, but we're working on it. And, defense is definitely a challenge so far, but I've
seen sighted players having a hard time picking up a ball after they drop it. Panic sets in and
Exactly. I've done a good job running towards the ball. I can get to the ball in like 1 or 2 seconds, but maybe 5 or 6 seconds to pick it up right now.
And we've got one of the bases over here to your left, Rob. You want to give us a little sound example of what that sounds like?
Sure. So there'll be 2 bases on the field. There's one at first base, one at third base, and right before the hitter makes contact with the pitch, as the pitch is being delivered, an umpire will set the base off, and it sounds like this.
Okay.
So it gives a
and how long does the sound continue?
It's supposed to continue until the runner hits the base. Whether they're safe or they're out, we want the base to stay on until the player gets to it, just because if it shuts off before the player gets to it, they don't know where it is, and they can get injured tripping over the base.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about some of the specifics about this. Tyler, why don't you talk about some of the challenges you had in hitting the ball? I mean, this thing is beeping in the air coming at you, and give me what are some of the thoughts that are going through your mind as you're standing there at the plate?
Yeah, I mean, the name of the game really is consistency, whether it's, your approach to the plate, your swing, the cadence you listen to. So the pitcher basically is sighted. So he's trying to help you get a hit, and you have to remember you guys are on the same team for it. So you have to make sure you kind of swing in the exact same spot, the same way, at the same time, every swing, and that's, how you find success swinging. But the pitcher will basically, I'll say ready, and then the catcher will say set, and then the pitcher will say ready, pitch, And somewhere in that ready pitch is when you start your swing and when you follow through the swing. So,
And the ball starts beeping as soon as it leaves the pitcher's hand?
he'll have it beeping, before he even throws it. So you'd think that you're kind of listening to try and hit the ball as it's beeping, but it's more so just find a consistent swing, and your pitcher will find you. And we've been blessed to have a guy who has had a ton of experience, getting a bunch of hits for us. So Ron's done a great job getting us going for sure.
Who's the guy that's your pitcher?
He's Ron Cochran. So
okay.
Rob mentioned him earlier. He's been on the team for about 20 years. So he's done an amazing job getting us the hits we need. So.
Yeah, just closing my eyes and thinking about when you were talking, I would get a sense that maybe I should be kind of swinging up a little bit, or if it's down low, do they warn you it's down low, sort of? Or?
Yeah, it's so, like I was trying to say, so I have a low swing, but it just kind of consistently always ends up a low swing. And, when I first started, I'm like, hey, should I try and bring the swing up so you can get it closer to somewhere? But, Ron's had a ton of experience getting to different swings. So he'll basically try and pitch to that low swing each time. And, sometimes it takes us 2 or 3 pitches to get there, but he'll find you usually. So it's, the more you change your swing in an at-bat, the harder it is for the pitcher to find it. So you just got to stay consistent, and, you can find the contact you need.
Rob told me that you had a great success starting out today. I heard you went something like 9 for 9.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to start off my career 9 for 9 hitting. So that was not all of them were great hits, but luckily I can run to the base pretty quickly. It's like the base about 100 feet away, so I can get there in, around 5-ish seconds. So it that definitely helps. But the outs come quick when you're not on your game either. So you really have to be on top of everything.
Well, you were an athlete in college.
Yeah. So I played in high school. I played football, basketball, and track. So I was always a 3-sport athlete. I took some time to kind of just focus on studies in college. And then, so as soon as I went blind, I was, not in great shape, but they've definitely built me back up slowly. For sure.
Huh. Well, you've been talking about hitting. Talk about the challenge of fielding it. And where do you play on the field? Are you an outfielder or
I played a little bit all over the place, especially in practices, as they, try and get me used to different positions. In like bigger games, I'm probably what you would consider like center field. So way back in the outfield, I'll be like second or third layer of certain plays. But it's definitely challenging, especially, the first couple of years you're playing. But, there's a lot of veterans on the team who are amazing at what they do on defense. So there's basically 2 spotters out there, and one on the right side, one on the left side. And depending on which side the ball goes, one of them will say a number between 1 and 6. And, 6 is up the middle, 1 is down the foul line, basically. And, they'll yell at a number, and you have to kind of run to that zone. And you kind of dive onto the ground and try and block the ball, basically, almost like a soccer goalie. Mm-hmm. And, then you have to pick up the ball off the ground before the other guy gets to the base. So I would argue it's even harder on your body than regular baseball.
You're on the ground a lot.
Yeah, and you'll kind of go full speed into a full dive.
You can see that in the video.
Yeah.
So when the ball's over when it's in the air, it must be even more challenging, I would think, right?
Definitely.
And scary, maybe, if it's coming at you.
Yeah, it can be for sure. So they, the spotters, they mentioned in the video, they do different inflections where, they'll do a high pitched if it's kind of a pop-up, or, they'll kind of groan like deep and loud if it's a hard line drive. So say if there's like a hard pop-up, they'll say it inflect in a certain way, and you kind of just back up and just keep backpedaling until it drops in front of you, and then you can kind of charge it. But, sometimes we've had the games where they'll be hitting it 150 feet way up in the air over your head. And, there's not a ton you can do for that except, maybe start at the home run line or something. So it's definitely a challenge, but, there's a lot of different ways to find success in it too.
Practicing, do you practice a lot, Rob? And it must be a challenge here in practice to have people kind of coming out and helping. And I can't imagine getting started in this must be difficult. And, what's a typical practice like?
Well, it depends. I mean, we typically will get started in the wintertime somewhere in the cages. So our cage practices are a lot different than we're outdoors. But when we're outdoors, it's just like any other sport. We try to treat it, right? I mean, typically the beginning of practice, our players will get out and do some sort of dynamic stretching while our coaches are setting up the practice, and sometimes we'll start working our coaches while the players are stretching. And then we'll break into stations. We'll have, live batting practice. We'll have a defense station. We'll do base running. We'll do a lot of drills. We'll do team defense. So it's a lot like you'd see at a practice at a baseball game, other than, that the coaches are helping the players more, just get around, and there's more sighted help there to help run things, so that there's not just someone running the drill, but there's someone there from a safety perspective as well.
Where do you practice?
We practice in Watertown primarily when we're outdoors, and then indoors we'll practice in Woburn.
Oh, a couple times a week, did I understand?
Yes, we get closer to the summer. Yeah, we typically during the summer months of like June and July, we'll go twice a week.
Okay.
And then, in the winter time, in the spring, it's usually once a week.
Of course, practices are probably pretty much what you get, because it's kind of hard to find another team to play, right?
Yeah, and it's it costs a lot of money for us to play. We got to travel to play a lot of our competition, and we're always bringing in new players, so it takes time for them to learn the game as well. As like Tyler said, he's only been with us for a couple of years, and he's getting better every practice he has.
So where are the closest teams that you get to play?
Well, there is another team locally, but and they just started like a year or so ago. But prior to that, in our 25 years, the closest team that we had was in New York. So, always have to travel down to Long Island is where they were at, actually near Hofstra, where I went to college. But that was, historically been the closest team to us. The East Coast just doesn't have a lot of teams. There's only 5 teams currently on the East Coast. Most of the teams in the league are in the central part of the country, in the Midwest or in Texas.
Of course, the big event is the World Series, and you were just there this year. Why don't you talk a little bit about the 2025 World Series that was in St. Louis, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was hot. It was the league had a little problem. So actually, they claimed it was in St. Louis, but we were actually in Southern Illinois because they lost the fields that they were originally going to use in St. Louis. So we had to travel to 2 different complexes in Southern Illinois. There were 19 teams that came to the World Series this year, 18 from the United States, but 1 from Taiwan. Really? It was the first time that Taiwan has been back to the World Series since, I think, 2018. They're a nightmare. They're typically one of the best teams in the world. So we actually had an opportunity to play them this year. So typically what will happen at the World Series is you'll play pool play at the beginning of the week, and then it'll go into a double elimination bracket, and then you'll end up playing what we call placement brackets, so that you can have a full week of games. And we played 9 games in 4 days.
Wow, and how'd you do?
We did not do what we had hoped to do. We finished in 11th place out of those 19. Well, but, it took the number 1 seed walked off on us. So we put up a good showing against the number 1 seed. And the other team that beat us in double elimination was the team from Taiwan. They beat us by 3 runs. And we played well. We beat all the teams that we were supposed to beat, and we lost to the teams that we were supposed to.
What's a typical score?
It really depends on the grass. So if you're playing on a really thick grass, then sometimes it's hard to get this ball through that grass. This ball weighs a pound, so it's hard to get it going through a thick grass. So on a thicker grass, you could see scores like, 10-7, 3-2, depending on who's playing. We played a game that we lost to the Indy Edge, and the final score was like 23-15. Okay. So you can have some really high-scoring games when you have big hitting teams, or when the grass is cut short, the ball just takes off.
Pretty much like a typical softball game score, then. Yeah, in some ways, yeah. So, what were a couple of your highlights? You've been doing this 25. The World Series, I believe, was the 25th year they've had a World Series. So you got started just about time that this was getting started, I guess.
Well, it's actually the 49th year that the league's been around. Yeah, we've been going. We're one of the more tenured teams, and we've been to every World Series since 2001, other than COVID. We chose not to go during the COVID year, but the league's been held its 49th World Series. But as far as memories, there's countless memories that we could talk about on the field, but I guess I'll hit two quick memories. One is one of our teammates, Christian Thaxton, in 2017. He set the record for the highest batting average in the history of the sport when he hit .896. Wow. And what was really memorable about that was we got his bat into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And the following year, we did an event up in Cooperstown with the Hall of Fame, and Christian was with us. And I got to be with Christian when he got to see his bat on display at the Hall of Fame. And being able to see the wave of emotions that he went through and to be a part of his journey of vision loss and see the things that he's been able to accomplish was tremendous. And then
do they have a big exhibit at the Hall of Fame on?
They just put his bat in.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they have a ball and a base.
They have some other things. We've gotten some other things put in the Hall of Fame in the past, but at that moment, it was his bat. And then on a personal note, we had a documentary on our team in 2005 that aired in 2013. And in 2013, we rented out a movie theater in Woburn in front of all of our friends and fans and family. After the movie was over, I proposed to my fiance in front of everybody.
Oh, wow.
And she said yes.
Yay, a real victory. Best win of the year.
Yeah.
So Tyler, what are a couple of your highlights? You've had a shorter history here, but...
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here 3 years, and highlights-wise, I think a lot of the players will agree is the first hit is always just crazy. I mean, you don't really expect much when you're going up there the first time. I was lucky enough to get a hit on my first at-bat. A lot of players that you aren't that lucky, but I was able to do that, and the team kind of swarms around you at the home plate like you just hit a home run in regular baseball. So that was just a great feeling. Other than that, it's just like kind of the regular days with just being around the team. Those are kind of my favorite moments, just because everybody's there to support you, and you can talk about anything. You can joke about anything. It's just a great group of people, and they're there for you for pretty much anything you need. So that's some of my favorite memories. And even just this year, I was able to get my first defensive put out. So I still act surprised I was very surprised when I had the ball in the air, and it was before the offensive player got to the base. So that was a great feeling as well. So we're looking to keep adding to those memories as the seasons go, for sure.
That's great. Well, you guys have been getting a fair amount of publicity from this. I mean, we showed the Channel 25 video. We got another image here of a Channel 4 video that I guess the media has been kind of interested in what you did. Nationally, I even saw a thing that was done on one of the national news stations. So I think this is getting probably the attention it deserves.
Yeah, we had a media day this spring.
He's got with a stick. He's trying to hit it. Is that something that you might do in practice?
Yeah, that is what we do in practice. Oftentimes, that thing's called a hit stick. It's a hitting aid that's used for softball players and baseball players, and we'll use that stick as just a way to run some of our drills so that players can get a feel for what it's like to hit something and run afterwards, as opposed to just taking dry swings in the air.
And then in terms of you told me one of your real challenges is to get more volunteers. The EMAS Senior Softball League, I know, had a nice event playing with you this year, and want to talk a little bit about that. I mean, these are guys that play softball, and so when they had to play with a blindfold on, it must have been quite a challenge for them. And I gather you inspired a few of them even to come and help you some more.
That's the hope. So,
Tyler's one of 21 players on our active roster right now, and
we're always getting new players. And one of the challenges is we need to make sure that we have enough people to support these guys on the field, so when they show up to practice, that we can have an effective practice and give them what they want. And though we only finished in 11th place this year, we are considered one of the top teams in the league, and we need to have guys, baseball-minded guys or people who have time to help us, so that we can run drills safely, we can do what we want to do, and we can simulate games in practice with people that can play baseball. So you have someone that can really hit a ball hard. That's going to make a player like Tyler better defensively to have someone hitting the ball really hard at them, because it'll prepare them for the series. From a volunteer perspective, one of the great things about volunteering as a volunteer is it's a great way to meet new people, and it's a great way to give back to the community. And if you love sports, you don't just have to sit on the sideline. As Tyler mentioned, we're involved in the game. Our ability as sighted volunteers impacts our ability to win and lose, such as Ron, who's throwing those pitches to Tyler. If Ron's not doing that, someone else has to, and the better they are, the more successful we're going to be. Or the spotters that go into the field, they're sighted, they're out there, and they have a huge impact on our ability to compete. So it's not just sit on the sideline and help somebody improve their game with skills, but you can be part of the action and help the team win or lose.
You had an intern helping you this year with some PR, was it?
We had a couple of them, yeah. We had a few, yeah.
Where did they come from?
Yeah, we have a situation. We work with one of the local colleges, and we've been able to get some people in that have been helping us with the marketing and operations of the team, which has been a huge help to me, so I can put more focus on the actual play of the game and the practices and kind of relax a little bit on some of the business side of the team.
Mm-hmm. So how does somebody get in touch with you? You have a website?
Yeah, we have a website. We have a
little graphic, I think, that we can put up here that gives the website and shows some of the there it is there with
great. We're on every social media, all the major social media platforms. We have a website. We have an email address. Anyone can reach out to us through any of those channels and just give us a heads up that you're interested. We'd love to talk to anybody who's interested in helping us because we've got some people that are leaving us for college and jobs, and so we're always trying to bring in new people. And then some of those people will eventually come back to us, but we definitely are short some people.
And so from a fundraising standpoint, if somebody wanted to help you financially, how would they do that?
Yeah, so you can reach out to us. There's a bunch of different opportunities from a fundraising perspective. If you want to just make just a donation, you can go to our website and make a donation with a credit card straight to the team. We're a volunteer-driven organization, so nobody, including myself, draws a paycheck. So 100% of the money that's donated to us goes to help with the team expenses. The equipment is very expensive. The travel is very expensive, and that's one way. But if you would like to do more than just donate and potentially bring an organization in as a sponsor, or even we play games against organizations that make donations to us, and we'll put the blindfolds on them like we did with EMAS and give them an experience they won't forget.
How did the EMAS guys respond to playing this game? I'm sorry, I wanted to play, but I was away, but at least I got the idea to have you guys here. So.
Yeah, we had about 17 or 18 guys came down, and we played kind of a version of the game. And they all got an opportunity to try to hit with the blindfold, to try to run with the blindfold. We modified the defense a little for them, so it was a little easier, a little less scary. And we had a fun time. We really had a good time, and the players that we came down with had a blast. It was a great day. And we're in talks with a few of them to hopefully join us for the 2026 season.
And I suppose if you got enough players, you could almost have two Renegades teams, so you'd have somebody to play against, right?
We do scrimmage against ourselves if we have enough people at practice to do that. We definitely have enough to do that.
Well, we touched on a lot of things. Is there anything that I've missed along the way here so far?
Yeah, I guess one other thing to just mention, right, is, this is a sport. But as Tyler kind of mentioned as well, and Christian, who I mentioned earlier, who's had bats in the Hall of Fame, they echo the importance of this team as just a support network. And I'm a firm believer that when you're going through something such as vision loss, if you can surround yourself with people who've been through that same journey, it can be life-changing and help you not just on the ball field, but help you with your confidence and help you get through challenges that can make your everyday life better.
Do you have a closing thought on this, Tyler?
No, but I would just say if you have any sort of interest at all, we love any kind of volunteer. If you're blind at all, come out and check us out. Don't have to go crazy and play each time, but we'd love to have you. He can tell you more about the sport. And volunteer-wise, I just love somebody to really hit the crap out of a ball and really make me work on defense a bit. So that'd be what we need the most right there.
Well, you guys have been great guests. This has really been one of the better shows, and I just feel so excited about what you're doing, and I give you credit, Rob, for taking the leadership of this, and Tyler, and to all the other guys on your team to have the courage and go out there and try and catch this big ball that's coming at you at 50 miles an hour, some days when I have a hard enough time doing that sighted. So thanks again, and thanks for coming. And to everybody out there watching this, if you're interested at all, check this out. Check out their website. Give Rob a call. There's probably some way that we all can find a way to get involved. This is a great way for sports lovers in particular to do something meaningful in the world of sports. And you can also do something meaningful in the world of television by continuing to watch Fan to Fan and on Access Framingham TV. We're on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays in Framingham, and we put all the shows up on YouTube. Just look for Fan to Fan Hornfischer. I'm Dave Hornfischer. I want to thank Corey, our production guy, for putting this together, and Leo on camera. We couldn't get this done without the support of Access Framingham TV. So good night, everybody.